one of the original tiger economies, booming again with a functioning democracy. Thailand is one of Southeast Asia's success stories. No matter what you throw at it, Thailand is known as the Teflon country. Nothing seems to stick. But despite a recent history of floods, a tsunami, and even an airport occupation, more people are visiting Thailand than ever before. But dig a bit deeper, and is the picture quite so rosy?
Successive governments have been providing too great an emphasis on quantity rather than focus on the quality of the product.
Hi.
On my journey, I'll be exploring Bangkok with two unique guides, visiting the original hedonist resort to witness firsthand the dilemmas facing Thai tourism, and then heading west towards the Burmese border to explore two very different tourist attractions that are also courting controversy.
It's arguably Southeast Asia's most established tourist draw. Last year, nearly 20 million international visitors came to Thailand. That's up 20% from 2010. Travel and tourism are expected to contribute over 18% to the country's GDP this year.
Hello, I am Mr. Thailand. Welcome to Bangkok.
Everybody knows where you go when the sun goes down. I think you only live to see the lights uptown.
Bangkok is one of the most dynamic cities in Southeast Asia and probably the world. It's also one of the hottest and most polluted. And that's largely due to the fact there's a dominance of unleaded petrol and a complete fetish for cars. Still, if you look around you, you'll see a glorious mix of locals, tourists and expats, all living cheek by jowl in what I can only call organised chaos.
I lie awake at night to wait till you come in. You stay a little while and then you're gone again.
Mr. Thailand and his rickshaw turn heads and his smile is infectious. But this isn't just a gimmick. This man used to be a farm labourer. Now he's turning a pretty penny and brightening up people's days on his rickshaw, or samlo as they call it here. What is your favourite place in Bangkok?
Market flower, you know.
The flower market?
Yeah, flower market Thailand. The come you flower everywhere. Everything. Look, you can look see.
Beautiful.
Very good, yeah.
It's a significant and inevitable phenomenon that many young people are following in Mr. Thailand's footsteps and moving out of the countryside. The big city beckons and increasingly consumerism and technology rule. Thailand is now one of the world's biggest producers of computer hard drives and, of course, cars. The number of people living below the poverty line has fallen dramatically from 42% to just over 7% in the last 25 years. Thailand is officially recognised by the World Bank as one of the great development success stories.
Where there's food, there's CDs, there's clothes, there's so many options.
And many of the younger generation are buying into the new lifestyle, like Jackie, who's forging a career in TV and film.
Okay. Right now, the biggest trend is K-pop. So,
Just Korean pop.
Yeah. Before it was Chinese pop, and then it gravitated to Japanese pop, and then now the huge trend is Korean pop, which you see right here.
K-pop and J-pop, soap opera and manga, Japanese and Korean fashion and cosmetics.
Like many young people in Southeast Asia, it seems Thais are mesmerised.
Everybody loves trends here, you know, and IT, like we have MBK, a big IT mall. We have Fortune Town, a big IT mall. There's copied stuff, there's real stuff. The iPhone, there's an e-phone, there's a phone, there's all sorts of weird stuff.
But the latest fad, says Jackie, is cheap and simple.
People love bubble tea.
Bubble tea.
Bubble tea.
What's that?
It's like milk tea with little tapioca balls. It's really, really delicious.
Why do people like that so much?
It's very good. You need to try it.
Oh, there's jelly bubbles that go. Actually, okay, I quite like it.
And it's refreshing.
And it's refreshing. Energy for shopping.
Yes.
The point is, it's a trend, and you're nobody unless you're doing it too. But as you walk through one of Thailand's 30,000 Buddhist temples, you do wonder how these trends, rampant commercialisation and materialism all fit in with Thailand's much revered Buddhist philosophy. How does a pious Buddhist reconcile instant gratification with his way of life?
To consume is fine, but I always ask that before you consume, think yourself, do you really need that? Do you really want that? It might look like you are damaging not anybody else, but you are damaging yourself. You are damaging your mind. You are damaging your awareness. In that sense, once you damage your awareness, of course, it is having a global impact to others.
The Khao San Road in Bangkok is a favourite haunt for the backpacker set. It's a diverting way to pass the summer break, especially when there's not much going on back home. While Thailand prides itself on its liberal attitudes to the partying backpackers, there are concerns from some politicians that the emphasis is on a quick buck mentality taking over tourism in Thailand.
Successive governments have been providing too great an emphasis on quantity rather than focus on the quality of the product. If you look at how, for example, the island of Samui or Phuket has developed, one can't help but be concerned.
Backpack tourism, I have a different perception for these backpackers. As a matter of fact, they are young people who would like to travel on their own and experience the lifestyle, get in touch with the people. And they are our young customer. And in the future, there will be probably bankers, there will be the engineers, probably top executives, and some of them ambassadors that they will visit us again.
The crux of the matter is that Thailand is now taking a more long-term view of the legacy of tourism and its financial impact. Rising visitor numbers per se are not enough. The contribution to the Thai economy is of more concern. Just a couple of hours outside Bangkok, on the coast, lies a city that sums up the paradox of Thailand's tourism.
Pattaya became one of Thailand's first beach resorts in the 1960s, when American GIs on leave from the Vietnam War came here in search of sun, sea and sex.
And 50 years on, as night falls in this crowded, lively city, that legacy reveals itself. Police here say tourism safety is the prime consideration, but Pattaya has been saddled with a sleazy reputation for some time, and that includes all the trappings that come with so-called sex tourism. So, how do the police deal with this?
Prostitution is against our law. The person selling sex is guilty of a crime, but the tourist buying sex isn't, although there's always a risk they will be drugged or robbed.
It may look like mayhem, but the party atmosphere is pretty well contained by the police. There may be a liberal, laissez-faire attitude to some activities, but there's a zero-tolerance attitude to drugs, and the penalties for being caught dealing or in possession are severe. Despite that, though, there's no denying that this part of town is very much an adult playground.
If they're serious in Thailand about changing the global perception of this country towards being a more family-friendly destination, then this place probably isn't the best advert.
We've got police officers in uniform in addition to volunteer tourist police on patrol here to give advice and look after tourists when there's trouble. So this area is highly safe. There are often officers on both sides of the street.
It's that racier aspect of our reputation that has also played to our advantage over time. We're seen to be just a little bit more edgy and frankly a little bit more Asian than some of the other Asian destinations. How you manage that balance and how you continue to ensure that it is safe for all, including families visiting Thailand, is the key.
But Pattaya is not all about walking streets and go-go bars. There are ambitious plans to rebrand one side of the city with luxury hotels and fancy restaurants. This area, Jom Tien, is very popular with property developers right now. Their eyes on a lucrative prize, big money tourists. The general manager created this upmarket resort in the year 2000, has now returned from China to find a city transformed.
When I come back, when I drive the car, arrive at Pattaya, I would say I have to compliment with the city mayor, done a good job. I can see that the more cleaner, more well organized, and I see that a lot of more and more international chains come to the Pattaya. That means that the destination will grow.
Many of these guests are repeat customers, largely from Europe, with wealthy weekenders from Bangkok adding to the mix. And now he's nurturing the Hong Kong, Taiwan and Korean markets too. He's hopeful all the new developments will help balance the city's image and start to rival the capital for luxurious living. Coming up, we travel west and head to a controversial temple that's also become a tourist resort, thanks to the tigers that live there. And we trace the route of a railway with a dark history that one day might reach Burma. The town of Kanchanaburi is 128 kilometres northwest of Bangkok, en route to the Burmese border, a serene antidote to the bedlam of the capital, and also home to a rather unusual and controversial Buddhist sanctuary. It's generally known as the Tiger Temple, run by monks and staffed by trained vets and 200 locals. The story goes one injured tiger was brought to this temple in 1999, and since then others have been delivered here for their own safety. Now there are nearly 100.
So now you are in the Tiger Island. Tiger Island is the point of view is Rescue Research and Education Center.
Originally 200 hectares, the aim is to complete work on a 2,000-hectare wildlife project. Already, wild boars, deer, cattle, horses and peacocks roam around.
She's very dirty.
She's very dirty, but that doesn't matter. She's hungry.
The cubs are, of course, cute. But as you might have guessed, the tiger temple has its critics. For a start, once born and domesticated here, tigers like this can't be returned to the natural wild.
Tiger must and should be in the wild. But where now at this moment? We talk tangible project. We not talk about on the paper.
Sure.
Where is paradise for the tiger now?
But there are more damaging allegations. 4 years ago, a much publicised report by the animal welfare group Care for the Wild International claimed the tigers were abused, drugged, had urine sprayed in their faces, and have also been traded. Well, there's no doubt the animals are docile, even lethargic, but that's because they're well fed, content, and by the afternoon, rather sleepy, says the doctor.
Tell me why some wildlife charities and some tour operators and guidebooks say you shouldn't come here. Why do you think they say that?
I think because they're not deep inside with us. You see, we have international volunteer, we have international staff now. So now the digital world, you cannot hide anything else. 13 years, I'm a vet. It's not easy to blow that the tiger with tranquilizer. It's not easy, okay? But 100% no drug.
Well, no, I've never done this before, obviously. I'm giving the tiger a bath.
You massage.
I'm massaging the tiger.
Massage the tiger.
Classic.
Tiger massage.
I cannot believe I am this close to a tiger, and this tiger is not small.
From the outside, this temple looks like a highly efficient money machine. It sets you back $10 to get in, and again to get a photo of you walking with a tiger, or having a tiger in your lap. They do seem incredibly docile now. But the owners insist this is a not-for-profit organisation, and certainly not money-grabbing.
We spend at least 500,000 baht per week just only tiger food.
Ultimately, the temple says it's the Buddhist belief system, in reincarnation especially, which divides them from Western wildlife experts.
So, what to make of this? Temple, or sanctuary, or circus? It's certainly very business savvy here. Tourists pay for every single privilege of being near a tiger, photographing them, touching them, and whatever else. But as for maltreatment goes, well, I've got no evidence for that, although I'm no scientist. Ultimately, though, it's probably the strangest place of worship I've ever been to.
Heading towards Kanchanaburi and ever closer to Burma is Thakramse Station. Young travellers bask in the sunshine and riverside scenery. But this is a pretty stop-off on a rail line with a grim history. It lies on a stretch of the 424-kilometre so-called Death Railway, constructed during the Second World War to fulfill Imperial Japan's ambitions of conquering and connecting the whole of Asia. To that end, 60,000 Dutch, British and Australian prisoners of war and 3 times as many indentured Asian labourers were drafted in to build it. Every year, 3 million people visit Kanchanaburi to see this bridge, made famous by the film version of a novel. Some say the real meaning of the bridge has been buried under layers of commercialism and tacky souvenirs.
Almost all of the original bridge over the River Kwai was destroyed by Allied forces towards the end of the Second World War. So largely what you see here is reconstruction. But that doesn't stop it from becoming one glorified photo opportunity for tourists.
13,000 prisoners of war and an estimated 80,000 Asians died. Some 7,000 graves of POWs were relocated here to a more appropriate resting place. Many visitors have close personal connections to the victims.
I came here because my father was a prisoner of war here, obviously during the war, and worked on the railway, yeah. So we just wanted to be where he was. That it helps, you know what I mean? Because, you know, it just keeps everything going.
It's only just in the last year or two that we are now having some Asian families coming here, and it's this generational thing. The children never questioned, the grandchildren are questioning. So we have Asian grandchildren coming here knowing that there's a grandfather somewhere. And the really sad thing is we can't help any of them because we have no information. With the prisoners of war here, we can tell you where every one of these men died, what they died of. With the Asians, not a one.
Rod Beattie designed this museum as a tribute to the prisoners of war. Some 70 years after the construction of the Death Railway, the idea to unite Southeast Asia has re-emerged, albeit without brutal imperialism at its core. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, is set to unify economic markets in 2015, and that could have significant benefits for travellers with visas and in crossing borders, as well as infrastructure. But it's the entry of an as yet uncommercialised, relatively undiscovered, and as yet less materialistic Burma that could be the wake-up call to those who think Thailand has a monopoly on the exotic Southeast Asian brand. As Burma comes out of the political wilderness, train links with Thailand are bound to improve. But let's hope that those who gave their lives being forced to build this first attempt to link the two countries by rail won't be forgotten. My travels through Thailand have shown me that this may be the land of smiles, but it's also the land of some very shrewd thinking. Everyone from Mr. Thailand to the Tourist Authority and even some members of the Buddhist community have a sharp awareness of how to cash in on Thailand's undeniable appeal. There's no doubt that this is one of the most vibrant and colourful countries in Asia, with a liberal attitude to life and a rich tradition of hospitality. Let's just hope that in its quest to develop and be all things to all people, it doesn't lose what makes it unique, because that would be too big a price to pay for this remarkable country.